What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to go over 4 games from 2006 that I think deserve a remaster next. Now, this was really brought upon by Elder Scrolls Oblivion, knocking it out of the park, and you could really make a case that, like, when any game gets remastered, this is the type of remaster that you would hope and pray for. But I thought, all right, this is a game from '06. It is definitely, I think a valid contender for an era of when you are supposed to bring these games back, right? Not really games that are 6, 7, 8 years old need to get remastered and remade, although we know in the industry that's what happens. So let's start with a controversial one. These aren't necessarily in orders, but this would probably be number 4, Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 is one that I actually, when I was looking, I said, okay, can I come up with games off the top of my head that released in '06? I actually got 2 of the 4 kind of right away, just in my head. But I thought, oh, shoot, I forgot, Kingdom Hearts 2 was '06. So, okay, here's the situation. I've said this before, controversial or not. I think eventually you're going to get like a Kingdom Hearts 1 remake, remaster type thing. Maybe, probably not in line with like Final Fantasy 7, but I think there's opportunity, even though I'm not really in support of it. And the reason I bring it up, okay, Kingdom Hearts 1, well, Kingdom Hearts 1's obviously older, and I do think that one could actually be enhanced enough that you could do something. But, you think about, at least in my opinion, Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite Kingdom Hearts game. It's a point that I think a lot of fans got together with the franchise. I would argue it was kind of the peak, or at least back then, maybe. I think maybe it actually peaked with like Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's a phenomenal game. It's a game that I actually believe has aged quite well. Now, that could be all sorts of, like, my mind could be cloudy, right? Because we've had Kingdom Hearts 2, and to my kind of rules in the beginning, it's had all of these re-releases, all of these collections, and throughout time and throughout all of these releases, has it been enhanced in some ways? It has. But has it literally gotten a remaster? It has not. So I do think that's a good one. I think the Kingdom Hearts franchise just in general is kind of good, but you don't want to go too far because they've made like 15 of these collections for Kingdom Hearts. They take 30 years to make main installment games. You don't want to distract these people with like the prospect of doing a remaster remake. You'll never get Kingdom Hearts 4 or 5, if you do that. So I say that while also kind of being aware that I think it makes sense, but I don't even necessarily want it. Okay, number 2, I picked Gears of War 1. And this one's an interesting one because, and this is actually one that I, recalled right away that, okay, this was '06. This is one that we might actually just be like a month or 2 early to the party, right? Throwing it in this video, but the Xbox event in June, they might announce like a Gears of War collection. We've heard rumors of that for like 2 years. So I think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. I think the Master Chief Collection kind of helps its case. So I don't, I guess, need to spend too long because I do feel like this is going to happen. But, it should happen for all the reasons we've already talked about, right? Legendary franchise. The first game is a great game. I think that trilogy kind of peaked with 2, and different elements maybe were a little bit better, here and there in all 3 of them. But I think kind of everything was at its peak in 2, and then it fell off a little bit in 3. But great franchise, great game, and definitely been long enough. And the enhancements you can make here, I think, would be really, really good. So again, I think we're going to get it. I don't want to spend too long on it. Number 3, I'm going to say Bully. And I think that when a lot of people think of 2006, if I showed you or you look, on your own time, the list of games that came out in '06, I think a lot of people would isolate and look at Bully and say, okay, this is one that kind of needs to happen. This one is actually the most painful because of the 3 so far, I think it's the least likely, and that's pathetic. That's actually very, very sad. I mean, could you imagine, like, we've talked about the ideas of, like, a sequel, and I think what you could do with modern technology with Bully, but even just a remaster or a remake, and you think about how Oblivion did it, and again, kind of using Oblivion as, like, all right, this is, again, what you kind of pray and hope that remasters are. Doing something like that to Bully would be freaking unreal. And you talk about how much, Oblivion kind of broke the internet, how it broke the PlayStation Store, when it first launched. I think that something like a Bully situation, that would happen as well. So this is one that, if I were to rank these, this is probably number 2. I have a personal bias, against number 1 that puts at number 1, but nothing necessarily, original here. Obviously, Bully is a spectacular game, and I feel like it would just do really, really well if they ever brought it back in literally any way. It feels the most unlikely, but maybe Rockstar will surprise us one day. And number 1, got to go with a personal favorite, Resistance. This is one that I think I've talked about just individually on its own on this channel. I mean, I'm a huge, Resistance simp. I love the franchise, and I'll tell you, I think Resistance 3 is actually the best one. Resistance 2 is kind of all over the place, but I love it. And Resistance 1 is just a very special type of game. I haven't played Resistance 1 in many, many years, so maybe it hasn't aged, as well as I think it does. But last I recall and last I played it, I freaking love the thing. I just think the universe that also you think about 06 and you think about specifically Gears and Resistance, you got those muddy, like graying kind of color, that color blend that was just very popular for like 4 to 6 years. Prototype even kind of continued that, as the years continued. Infamous, I think, to a degree as well. So, I love that color palette, even though it became overwhelming at the time. But no, I think Resistance is so freaking good. This would kind of give it like a kick in the rear, right, to kind of just bring it back. I don't think this one will ever happen either. I'd really want it. I'll tell you this, though. It's actually interesting that Insomniac, I think, has been like asked by fans constantly online, because I do think they've either addressed it or they've responded to people that say like, hey, are you ever going to give us a Resistance remaster? And they say, oh, we're busy working on Wolverine. It's definitely not. It's acknowledgement without ever saying yes, and they never will. Resistance just never sold. Of this list, I think the other games ran freaking laps around it, right? These are all very high-selling games, and I actually think games that would make sense in a lot of ways to remaster. Resistance is more of just like a personal thing for me. If it didn't sell back then, could it sell now? I think yes. I think the user base is much different, and in some senses of like who you're targeting, it'd be much bigger than what it was back in 06. But I don't know. I feel like just the money, and we know how Sony operates, I feel like they'd be scared off too easily. So there's my 4. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of mine, and then what other 2006 games you would remaster. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.